Welcome to the Fate of Ukraine channel. Russian secret technology hit in Ukrainian airspace. The Ukrainian Air Force has lifted warplanes into the sky for hard-to-detect Russian technology. The Russian technology, which came up to the skies of the capital Kyiv, razed the ground. In the statement made by the Ukrainian Armed Forces, it was announced that 6 Russian blimps detected in the skies of the capital Kyiv were shot down. Recently, the emergence of blimps has awakened the whole world. Now Ukraine has issued a red alert for the barely detected tech. Experts stated that perhaps since the beginning of the war, Russian blimps have been flying over the Ukrainian skies. Some objects seen in the skies of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, caused sirens to sound. In a statement made by the Ukrainian authorities, it was stated that the objects seen in the skies of Kyiv were Russian blimps. Noting that the air defense system was activated after the balloons were detected, the Ukrainian Armed Forces said about 6 enemy targets were spotted in the Kyiv airspace. It was understood that these were blimps moving with the effect of the wind. In the continuation of the statement, it was stated that it was suspected that the balloons were collecting information by reconnaissance in the Ukrainian airspace and said, "Our air defense systems are scanning over all air targets. Many of these objects have been dropped." The purpose of using balloons may be the detection and destruction of our air defense systems. While it was determined that the suspicious objects were a simple blimp, it was understood that these balloons were much smaller than the Chinese blimp that appeared in the US sky and was destroyed by the Pentagon. There was no explanation from Russia about the mysterious balloons. However, military experts declared that the balloons used by the Russian side were purely a means of reconnaissance. The Ukrainian side states that the locations of the balloons shot down at the moment will be determined and the wreckage will be examined. While the Russian side continued its preparations for a major attack, clashes intensified in the Bakhmut region on the eastern front. At the moment, Ukrainian fighters have stated that they will not surrender Bakhmut in the Donetsk Oblast to the Russian army. According to the investigations, a multi-layered defense line was created by the Ukrainian army in the city. Giving detailed information about the city, the deputy commander of the Bl0w battalion said, "I assure you that the Ukrainian forces will not surrender the city." The deputy battalion commander said, "Every street of the city is guarded. Every street, every building is a castle. There are strong walls all over the city. I don't want to reveal their exact location and how they are equipped, but trust me. This is a multi-layered defense." The commander spoke about the Bakhmut region. Until now, there is no residential conflict in the Bakhmut region, as in the cities of Severodonetsk and Rubizn in Luhansk Oblast. Because the Russian army is stopped before it can approach the city. The center of the city it is quite strongly defended. The Russian side was able to reach the outskirts of the city at most. That is why the Russian side lost so many soldiers as a result of its attacks on the Bakhmut region. Andriy Yusov, head of intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, noted that the losses of Russian forces were the largest since the beginning of the full-scale offensive. According to the head of intelligence, the Russian army wants to reach the administrative borders of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts. The plans of the Russian soldiers, who have been able to come to the Volodar town of Bakhmut so far, have not yet worked. Due to the critical location of the Volodar region, the Russian army is constantly attacking this town. However, the Ukrainian artillery units are smashing the Russian army. During the war, the Ukrainian army constantly goes behind Russian positions and conducts massive raids. Recently, a group of foreign legions not affiliated with the Ukrainian army, but fighting for Ukraine, arrived on Russian territory on foot. After the emergence of these events, Kremlin officials and Putin had to take more measures inside the country. According to the latest information, it was revealed that the residences of Russian President Vladimir Putin were connected to a secret railway line, and that the Russian president traveled safely and unobtrusively by armored train. According to Russian media outlet Bl0w, Russian President Vladimir Putin travels on secret train tracks that connect to some of his residences. According to the report, the train used by Putin is equipped with hidden radio antennas and armor. According to the report prepared using satellite images and observations, secret stations are spreading throughout the country. Russian authorities are now constantly moving around the country using secret armored trains. In the fall of 2022, news outlet Bl0w identified a train station guarded by officials near Putin's estate in Valdai, halfway between Moscow and Petersburg. A reporter trying to approach the station reported being blocked by a guard. The station is located in Bl0w, the closest settlement to Putin's residence, according to the media outlet. The mansion in question also has a helipad. Analyzing satellite images, Bl0w estimates that the station was built in 2019. An engineer who claims to have participated in one of the rail works that lead to Putin's mansion said that railroad maintenance is only done on the tracks that lead directly to Putin's mansion. The engineer also claimed to have seen Putin's private train in motion on the route at least once. Putin can no longer act comfortably even in his country. The war had a huge impact on Russia. On the other hand, the report titled 2023 Arms Balance published by the International Institute for Strategic Studies revealed that Russia suffered a significant loss of military power, including most of its most modern equipment, due to the Ukraine war. According to the published report, it was revealed that Ukraine completely modernized its army with military aid from abroad. It has also been reported that China has seen an unprecedented increase in military spending. In the report, which gave an important place to the war in Ukraine, it was stated that Russia covered its military losses with the declared mobilization, but underlined that the newly arrived soldiers were inexperienced. The research institute stated that Russia, which has the world's largest tank stock, is melting. Pointing to the loss suffered by the Russian tank fleet, the institute stated that about half of the T-72 tank models and most of the T-80s were destroyed, and therefore the Russian army had to field old equipment to compensate for these losses. According to the publication, Russia lost 6 to 8% of tactical warplanes, while losses in some aircraft types ranged from 10 to 15%. Russia, which still has quite a few fighter jets, is directing warplanes to Ukraine's borders to support a new attack attempt. According to military experts, the Kremlin has now deployed more than 400 warplanes on Ukraine's borders. Western intelligence experts report that Russia has massed its air force on the Ukrainian border. Experts point out that this is an indication that Moscow is preparing to drive its jets and helicopters to the front line in support of a slowing ground attack. Speaking to the Financial Times newspaper, Western intelligence experts stated that the Russian ground forces were weakened, so the Russian army could use its air force for the attack. Speaking to the newspaper, a senior NATO diplomat said 80% of the Russian aviation is available for attacks at the moment. We expect that they are preparing to launch an air campaign. That's why they are trying to disable the Ukrainian air defense with attacks. Commenting on the speech of the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin at the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting held at Ramstein Air Base, a senior U.S. administration official said, "It was very clear that the Ukrainians have a short window of time to help them prepare for an attack and they have very specific needs. Russian ground forces are quite exhausted. This is the best indication that they will turn the attacks into air warfare. If the Ukrainians want to survive, they must increase the number of air defense systems and arsenals," said. On the other hand, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, who made a statement to the press after the first day of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting held at Ramstein Air Base, said that the U.S. did not see any signs of an imminent major airstrike, but that Washington and its allies helped Ukraine to strengthen its air defense capacity as much as they could. Stated that they did. We have come to the end of another video. You can like the video to support us. By subscribing, you can easily follow new videos. See you.